Morning, Nhlakanipho. Before the people had logged on, we were speaking about these other books of the Bible. I forgot the word that
I
is
think they're
used, but
calling
the
the
one,
same canon or something. I'm not sure.
yeah,
I remember the word once.
yes. And you
But
were
we'll
telling
find the proper
me
term.
your perspective. You said you haven't read them, but you are not opposed. You were saying something about it was the Catholic Church that had decided.
Yeah, I think there was once a time when the church had more rule than the church was once upon a time government.
Mm.
Hence it was the church that decided how time is broken down, how months are broken down, and hence it was the church that came up with the calendar that we're using today. So the church had a very large influence, and so yes, when it came to how which scriptures are put in what we today call the Bible. Of course, not all of them are there because we know that there are many more prophets in the Bible mentioned, whose lives we don't know, and we know that there are many more writings that are mentioned in the Bible which cannot be found in the collection that we today call the Bible. So definitely.
So, what kind of like approach should we have when dealing with these kind of books?
Well, first of all, I mean, ask yourself the question. I mean, there are people who've lived their entire Christian life successfully and prosperously without any of these books. So number one, ask God: is there value in you discovering these books? Is there value in your own spiritual life, or is there value in what God has set out for you with you wanting to discover these books? If there is value, then God will map out what you need and what is there for you to take and what is not necessarily for you. But if there isn't value, I mean, if there isn't value, you don't need to. You need to ask yourself, okay, if God is not interested in you finding out about this book, what is God actually interested in you doing? And rather occupy your time with that.
I understand. So, say for example, someone feels called to find this knowledge and read from these books, right? Is it okay for this person to speak about it with other people and these things?
Well, if you do it according to the method that I prescribe, which is step one, asking God, I assume that step two, in your case, would be the case where God has said, "Yeah, yes, find out, go and seek them." Then God will instruct you. Whether He wants you to keep this to yourself, or if it's just as normal as you speaking about the book of Matthew.
Yes,
There
yes,
is no
yes.
set way. For me, I may need to keep it to myself for 3 years while God is actually taking me through the revelation or the discovery or whatever it is that He wants me to learn. But for you, while you're learning and while you're discovering, you could be talking to your brethren about it, your loved ones and everything, and it really doesn't make any difference. You just need to find what your ingredients to your cocktail are. You understand? Christians will never live the same way, and Christians are not really meant to live the same way when they get into their true growth.
That's very interesting. Did you read a scripture today that you want to share before we
No, I
close?
was just meditating.
On
I've
which
been
one? Just
meditating on
one.
the scripture for like maybe 3 years now.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Which
literally.
one?
And I know this that all things work together for my good. He who
Amen.
loves the Lord and is called according to His purpose. It's a
Amen.
very deep scripture, and yeah, if you unpack it in meditation, and when you study the Word, you realize that all things, all things is everything. So it allows you to literally unpack your entire life. Look at your life in the lens of physical health, and look at your life in the lens of knowledge. How much do you know in terms of a person who's learned? Makes you look at your life in terms of an emotional balance. How emotionally balanced are you? It makes you. And when God says all things work together for you for your good, it means that even the places where when you think about your life, you feel like there's no hope, even that darkness and even that hopelessness has some good it's going to serve and play out for you in the end. So I tend to focus and stay in those moments, moments in my life that I feel they need to be developed, or where I feel like I need to forgive myself, or I feel like I need to forgive others, or I feel like I need to develop myself and sharpen myself because I'm not necessarily on point. So I stay in those moments and I meditate. I'm consistently staying in those moments, and that's what I was doing today.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing here with us today. See you on the morrow.